as a die-hard House fan, I must say that each of these ideas for a new series presents an intriguing twist on the original show. The concept of Gregory House consulting on difficult cases while guiding younger doctors echoes the essence of House M.D., yet offers something fresh and different. Uh, it would be a fitting tribute to the character, allowing us to delve deeper into his mind and wisdom. And if a reboot of the popular TV series House ever occurs, it might prove challenging to bring back Hugh Laurie's character due to the dramatic conclusion of the show. Spanning 8 seasons, House had its ups and downs, with season 8 being less impressive than fans might have hoped for a final season. The series finale also sparked debates among viewers, given the complexity of House's character development and the fact that many storylines were already explored. There were limited options for wrapping up the show. Although it might not seem like the most groundbreaking concept for a new House series, it aligns well with the original show's tone. And House, being a medical procedural, saw Greg and his team tackling a case each week. This show consistently conveyed that House thrived on challenges, a concept where House interacts with Bill Bixby's David Banner character, traveling from town to town, stirring up trouble while managing his unique gift and curse, could be fascinating if executed skillfully. 5, House returned to the US and is now in prison. House would likely get caught if he returned. I'd speculate another plausible scenario for House's return to the US might be revealing. He eventually made his way back, likely to keep his word to 13, only to be apprehended. Initially, it wasn't expected that House would serve a significant prison term, but with his death being staged in the series finale, his sentence has undoubtedly grown longer. Additionally, one can imagine the tricks House might have attempted to evade capture while trying to re-enter the country and locate 13. From my perspective, the challenge lies in resurrecting House, given that it has already explored the prison arc, and it wasn't exactly captivating for viewers. With Wilson gone and House fulfilling his commitment to 13, there seems little reason for him to be concerned about incarceration. Moreover, such a temporary resolution wouldn't suffice in the long run, as any revival of House would inevitably transition back into a medical drama over time. Therefore, I believe it would be both repetitive and unproductive to have House get arrested, serve time, and then be released again. 4, House did his time and somehow got his license back, and House Reboot could revert things back to status quo. Repeating House's imprisonment might seem redundant, but a comeback could be initiated by his release from jail upon returning to the US, serving out his sentence. Considering that over a decade may have elapsed, in reality, by the time a possible reboot occurs, House may have already served his time and gained freedom. Although it's challenging to envision him sort of regaining his medical license under those conditions. Remember, House is a fictional TV series. In a potential comeback, House's reputation and skills might have allowed him to regain his medical license and resume practice. However, whether this happens at Princeton Plainsboro Teaching Hospital is uncertain. The specific conditions of his return would be influenced by which characters are included in the revival And for instance, if Foreman continues as Dean of Medicine at Princeton Plainsboro, he could oversee House's reentry into the hospital. Um, However, this scenario might bring things back to their original state, almost like House never ended initially. Typically, House found it challenging to maintain tension and frequently reverted situations to their original states. For instance, when Foreman was recuperating from the brain biopsy, House detected that something wasn't right. Um, Yet, in the following episode, Foreman seemed as if nothing had occurred. Similarly, House suspected Hootner might have been murdered, but he abandoned his theory in the subsequent episode. If a reboot occurs, it should steer clear of such repetitive patterns. And three, House never got his license back, but is now a consultant. House could still do what he does best without being a doctor. A captivating variation on the original concept could involve House no longer bound by the constraints of being a Princeton physician, instead offering his medical expertise as a consultant. This role has been frequently portrayed in TV dramas such as Adrian Monk and Richard Castle, and it mirrors the primary influence behind Gregory House's character Arthur Conan movie, Doyle's Sherlock Holmes. And House never embraced the conventional doctor role, instead viewing his cases as intriguing puzzles that required solving. By bringing back the character of House in a consulting role, we could introduce a fresh cast for a reboot of the series, departing from mere imitation of the original, plastic a possibility at the Aaron annotation. And in this new scenario, House would serve as a guide to a new crop of doctors, no longer holding sole authority over cases. It would be fascinating to witness House, accustomed to making critical decisions, having to rely on others when faced with tough calls, a shift from his dominant role during the show's run as a doctor. In a unique spin-off of the House format, imagine a veteran version of Gregory House consulting on cases, but without the resources he once had, relying solely on his brilliant mind. But today, this older House would collaborate with younger doctors to tackle the most intricate cases. Such a series could capture the essence of the original show while introducing fresh elements, making it an ideal choice for a limited series, or one with fewer episodes compared to the original House M.D. Series. Like The Fighter is going to be two House abandoned medicine altogether and never returned home. House may have found other things to do. An unconventional approach to resurrecting the show House could involve the narrative twist that Dr. House never returned home and gave up on medicine entirely. Unlike some viewers' expectations of him ending his life after Wilson's demise, I propose this would contradict the message of the series finale. Instead, the last episode of House emphasized House making a choice to live, even if it meant sacrificing his career to be with Wilson during his friend's last moments. However, this decision doesn't necessarily mean that he would continue practicing medicine in the future. Even without a license, Craig House wouldn't hesitate to continue his work, but he might have opted for an entirely different path in life instead. So a spin-off series exploring this new lifestyle could be intriguing. as it would deviate from the typical medical drama revival. House is such an enigmatic character that a reboot, regardless of its setting, would prove valuable simply to delve deeper into his complex persona. One, House is training a young doctor to be his successor. A House reboot could be about a new main character. At the conclusion of House, Chase assumed the role of the new House since he was now in charge of the diagnosis department, following years of working under him and often presenting unconventional yet brilliant ideas. Yet, if there's a House reboot, it might show House grooming a more traditional successor, a promising young doctor with an extraordinary talent who could rival House's fame. Throughout the series, House demonstrated a unique ability to guide and teach various characters, introducing a fresh, intriguing character as the protagonist in this new series could see House serving as their mentor, thereby establishing it as a separate entity rather than merely an extension of the 8-season series, to prevent confusion with previous characters like Chase, Foreman, 13, and Masters, who took on the role of new houses. This new character should offer something unique and engaging. So a novel twist on this familiar trope is essential to keep audiences hooked.